Stay tuned for Time to Talk with host Jennifer Graziano of Zion Memorial Chapel and Cox and Graziano Funeral Homes. Jennifer is here to discuss a sensitive subject we all need to talk and think about. Here now is Jennifer Graziano and Time to Talk.
Good morning, Westchester. It's 9 a.m. on Monday, and that means it's time to talk with me, Jen Graziano. I'm a licensed funeral director who oversees my family's funeral homes, Cox and Graziano of both Mamaroneck and Greenwich, and the Zion Memorial Chapel of Westchester. Every Monday, I come to you discussing important topics and sensitive matters that all of us need to pause and reflect upon at some point. And through this show, I hope to provide a platform to do so. If you're joining us this morning on 1460, a Whitney Global Media station, we'll take questions, comments, and calls to 914-636-0110. And good morning to Vinny and everyone in control room. Good morning, Tim Judge, man behind the camera, GreenwichLocal.com. And good morning to all my Facebook Live viewers. We hope everyone enjoyed a beautiful holiday weekend, whether you celebrated Passover or Easter. We hope you gathered with family and feel renewed in your faith. It was a beautiful weekend for sure. I am joined today by a wonderful guest, and we have not done a show like this yet. So I'm so grateful that this topic was brought to my attention. Mary Stetson of Stetson Real Estate in Mamaroneck, an institution in Mamaroneck. And we're going to talk about the myriad of issues that come up when we are in charge of perhaps selling the home of a parent who has passed away or a loved one. And I also want to talk about the downsizing that happens once someone becomes widowed for aging in place in Westchester and available affordable opportunities. So lots we're going to cover, but welcome, Mary.
Welcome. Thank you for having me on your show. I'm Mary Stetson of Stetson Real Estate, established in 2000 as an independent brokerage. We serve Westchester and Greenwich and are 4-time winners of Best of Westchester.
I like the fact this is an independent brokerage because I think that automatically implies a more personalized connection, that it's not a network, that you're expanding, that there's hundreds of people that can connect. You are taking a vested interest in your clients, and there's probably a lot more personal service that comes with that.
I too come from a family business, and my father always told me in our family business, take care of the clients and everything else will fall in place.
Absolutely. Wise words. So you're based in Mamaroneck. You've probably seen so many changes in the market throughout your tenure, but most recently, can you just give us a brief market status update report of how the market in Westchester is currently looking?
Sure. Over the last year, interest rates rose dramatically. And so as we saw even way back in 2004, when interest rates rise, people rush to the market to try to lock in their homes. I locked in my own children at 2.5% and 3% interest rate. So there was a big rush and prices went up. And now in the late fall, there was a slight standstill where people were trying to figure it out. And this spring, there are people resettling back to working in New York City, so they need to be close. So we have increased demand, but very little supply because so many homes have already been sold. And also other people are like, oh, I'm in a low interest rate. Why should I move?
Well, that conversely, with interest rates being so high, it's interesting that the demand is so high because they're really punitive at this point. People who a few years back would have been locked in at 2.5%. What are the rates looking at right now?
Okay, right now the 30-year fixed is 6.42%.
Wow.
And the difference is even if you said it was 3.42 before, you didn't get the lowest rates. That is, if you put 20% down, the principal and interest payments are 36% higher.
Wow.
12% per 1% interest rate gain, higher as you feel it. But what has happened is supply and demand have trumped the impact of the interest rate. So for right now, we're still at higher and higher prices because demand outweighs supply.
Do you see a push or a drive in the rental market because of the current situation with interest rates and mortgages? Do you see a push to rent instead of own?
There are people that are renting because they can't find a house to buy.
Okay.
But the rental rates are going up as well.
Sure.
With inflation, everything else, that taxes are increasing, different things, and landlords can get it because supply and demand again. So even those people that are renting are seeing seeing prices rise.
There's been such a seismic shift in these local communities. And let's take Mamaroneck, for example. Mamaroneck was this institutionalized community where everyone knew each other, long time established families settling in. And what you've seen, arguably in the past 5 to 7 years, I'd say, were these parcels of land where the home would come down, the building would go up, and it changes the character of a community. They become bedroom communities. They become, people are getting on a train, settling in Mamaroneck. It's that those families that have lived there generationally. You really see a lot of that gone away.
You have, and it's with our setup in New York and Mamaroneck, the tax situation, is it making it a bit untenable for some long-term families,
Right.
generational families,
Right.
to continue to stay. Whereas if I go to Old Greenwich, which is, very similar to Rye or Mamaroneck,
Yeah.
you'll see older people living there for a very long time in the communities.
I noticed that myself. I mean, we have a location in Greenwich as well, and there's a different landscape. I mean, again, you are seeing some of those buildings going up and beautiful buildings nonetheless, but you do see a lot of people generationally aging there.
More generationally aging
right.
in Greenwich because the tax structure allows it.
So different.
Yeah.
So different. We could do a whole show.
But some of us, like myself, we love Mamaroneck.
Yes,
so we're going to stay no matter what.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Lots of love I have for both places, but great options for sure. So let's talk a bit about aging in place. What are the trends currently of 55 and over? We always hear about this mass exodus down south to Florida, which I get. And but even now, Carolinas, South Carolina, North Carolina, do you tend to find that you are selling homes of people who are migrating south, or do you find that people who have raised their children are just looking for something smaller in Westchester?
Okay, so there are people that stay local. There's people that downsize in Westchester, and then there's people that move outside of Westchester. So I would say after the kids graduate, not just high school, but also maybe college, because they want to come back for their friends base that are still here during college. After that point in time, I would say that Mamaroneck sheds probably close to 70%.
Wow.
That's high.
That's really
I know
high.
It's high. I like 65-70% of the people to some other area. And then the other ones that stay, a percentage of them stay in their homes. And then another percentage of them go to either like a condo, like one of the great places that there's a place in New Rochelle that's right on the water that were condos.
Oh, the old Beckwith.
The old Beckwith Point. And Jerry Birmingham built that property. And the taxes are like 1% because condos had a situation where they could get taxes that were just 1% of value.
Oh.
The St. Regis that's in Rye has like under 1% annual taxes.
Really?
And so there's been a couple places, condos that have been set up that have encouraged people to stay locally. And both of those places are filled with, it's Watermark Point in New Rochelle. Both of those places are filled with local people that downsize. Also local people, like I just had one who actually his wife had passed away, sold a house in Greenhaven and bought in Lion Farm in Greenwich. So there are ways that people can stay local. And there's other people that choose to just stay in their own home.
In terms of the availability of the condo market, again, you're starting to see more structures and developments come out, but there really are not in the southern Westchester area. There's not, I wouldn't say there's a great deal of townhome living. But in the condo living too becomes desirable when it's one floor as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to think about transitioning into a more conducive lifestyle.
Right.
And, giving up flights of stairs. I mean, could be a very sought after amenity.
The highest sought after amenity for anyone that's over 60 that's moving, the highest.
And also not having to worry about the snow removal, the landscaping. You pay a homeowners association fee, but you're just eliminating the headache of that. So there's so many conveniences that should be looked for. I want to talk a bit about, though, in the situation where someone has passed away and now the adult children, let's say, or even let's say if it's a niece or a nephew or a caretaker, are in charge of selling the home. Why is it so important to connect with you in that situation?
Okay, actually, we just went through this with my husband's mother passing away, and his father had already passed away. So it's really important to speak with a realtor, because the realtor can connect you to all these resources and give you this wealth of information that you just didn't have to deal with in your life.
Right.
And not even ChatGPT can give you the most up-to-date information on this. I've tried to ask it the question. So you want to connect with a realtor that's going to tell you what's the current value of your house? Do a walkthrough. Is this something that can be sold as is? Do you need to do basic repairs, or do you want to fully prep it for the market? Right. And the biggest question is, who can help me dispose of all the personal possessions that are in the home? How long is that going to take?
Yeah, I mean, it's more than just selling the house. You also, I'm sure, have trusted resources to connect them to for estate sales, or, in cases where hazard cleanup is needed.
Asbestos removal.
There's mold. Right. I mean, you have a network that you must be very close with.
And the realtor is going to the way that we work, we're going to help you get those estimates. We're going to, especially when the heirs live out of town,
right?
We can meet the people, the asbestos removal people, the underground oil tank removal people. We can meet all of those people at the house, arrange for the estimates, and give them to them just as part of the service of helping them market their home for sale.
So that's a lot than just showing them, a lot more than just showing the house. I mean, you really, again, you are vested in trying to sell this home, and you're also really working for the client more than just opening the door and allowing people to pass through.
Especially when you're dealing with someone that needs to shed a property.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the care that the realtor gives is so important, because it's almost like a golf swing. It's like what you do before you actually put it on the market is really like 80% of 90% of what's going to happen.
Sure.
In that
That's a great
sale
analogy.
It really is, especially with selling the home. And you just need to make sure you do it right. You need to make sure that you don't get hoodwinked into spending more than you have to prepare it for sale.
True.
Or doing more than you have to prepare it for sale.
True.
You have to take a look at timeframes. And then there's the whole, like, helping with that whole piece of getting the personal possessions and the furniture and the things to a next new home.
So can you, I mean, if looking at your experience, what are the most common issues that arise in this situation when adult children are selling mom and dad's home following a death? Are there like a top three things that you
there's
can say?
Actually a number one thing.
Okay.
The number one thing is your realtor should go down to building department and figure out the building department records. And I will tell you, there's so many times where mom and dad never did a big renovation of the third floor, and they never put anything on town records.
Exactly.
They added a bathroom. They added space on a home. So you have to get straight with the building department before you trade the house, unless you're going to take an extreme discount on that house.
Right, but you're not going to be able to sell a home without a valid CO. I mean, you won't be able to.
Correct. Well, you could sell it without a valid CO, but the person that's going to take it is going to ask for a hefty discount.
Absolutely, but then it becomes a title insurance issue as well. I mean, it could certainly delay a sale. And
there's also sometimes survey issues where the fence was built on the neighbor's property.
Yep.
These things, is homes that have been in a family for a long time have more of these types of issues.
And this is more common than you think. I mean, I actually saw this with some people firsthand very recently. It happens, and it could be a lengthy process, sometimes upwards of like 6 months, or over a year, to really rectify and resolve and go through the sale. So
we've been actually very successful in getting it done within a month. So within the time that so it all has to do with just knowing how to look for the right information, getting the right people on board, and taking care of it.
Wonderful. So that's number one. The realtor is really going to dive into the building department issues, the legalities and those complexities. what would you say 2 and 3 would be?
Okay, so the next thing is like, do I have to do any of the thing on this house, or can I just sell it for sale? Can I sell it myself? You'll get many heirs wanting to save the real estate commission by trying to go out and sell it themselves.
So why
first.
is that not as effective, Mary?
Well, it's not as effective because you're not getting it out there to the widest audience. Because the wider the audience that you have considering the home, the higher price. You're going to have competition. You'll get the highest price for it.
And in some sense, again, they think they're saving the commission, but they're also not maximizing the value of the home.
Correct.
So
but what I work with people, if they really feel like they want to try a families and friends run at it, I say, well, tell you what, go ahead and we'll give you, we'll market it simultaneously. If you get your person, to sign within 3 weeks, then, we'll waive our commission on it. So we can work hand in hand. I understand the mentality of some of the heirs that are coming in, and they're coming from all over different parts of the country. So sometimes if they really feel like they need to take a run at it themselves, it's like, go ahead.
So
and we'll sort of guide them a little bit in that.
Wonderful. Talk about the concept of investing a little to make a sizable sum more upon sale of the house. I mean, is it often your point of view that you should put that new kitchen in, and perhaps not put the finest new kitchen in, but invest in the home to recognize the return upon the sale?
Okay, so when I'm working with someone that's dealing with heirs and they're looking to turn a house, unless they're already in the construction business, my advice is always, number one, take care of the things that are going to pop up on an inspection: structural, safety, environmental. Get rid of the asbestos. Make sure you don't have an electrical box that's faulty, or 15 double tapped breakers that are in the box. Make sure your roof doesn't leak. So take care of those basic things: structural, safety, environmental. The next step up, which I highly recommend, is taking care of the floors, the paint, the lighting, cleaning everything, clean.
So kind of cosmetic, and also, at that point.
Well, it's just a cleanup and clean up the grounds.
Okay.
And then the next step, and once you have that base, then you can actually add a little staging that'll make it appeal to the younger buyers. Going to the point where you're actually renovating a kitchen or a bath is quite a costly and lengthy procedure. So I really only recommend that if it is like someone in the family has contracting experience.
Okay.
They're more experienced with it
because it was end.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because it's timely, and the market right now is changing so quickly. Like right now we have a very high price point in the market, and actually the prices are continuing to go up. But as we said before, that interest rate has to have an impact on demand sooner or later.
One would certainly think. So are you of the mindset that sell your home for a little less rather than do those repairs? I mean, if the house is in need of a new kitchen or a new bathroom, but again, you don't have the ability to do that for a reasonable cost, would you advise a seller?
I would do
just be mindful and
paint, just floors, lighting, clean, and a garden cleanup.
Okay.
There's many times the gardens are like quite overgrown, and it's making the house dark because the shrubs have grown up, have not been trimmed back in years.
Today's buyer, are they primarily focused on the school district, or is there concern, taxes in the municipality? And I know Westchester, we have such a unique municipal structure where you're half in this town and part in this town. And even, where we're located in Rhinebeck, I mean, that's always fun. What is the primary concern from your perspective of a home buyer today? What are they looking for?
Okay. So one of the biggest draws is, where do their friends live? If they already have friends that have moved to Westchester, a lot of times they want to be in the same area that their friends are.
And this is as migration north of Manhattan and Brooklyn, correct? That's still ongoing?
Manhattan, yeah, absolutely. Manhattan, and also there's people coming back from Florida, and there's people coming from the West Coast.
Oh.
And that's why the Northeast here is still seeing our demand very strong, whereas other parts of the country are seeing a lesser demand, and they're starting to feel the impacts more. But we're having people come in from all over as New York is getting back up
And then we do
running.
have good schools here. I have to
Yes.
imagine that has
So it's
something.
where your friends are, then it's where the schools are and taxes. Those are the big three.
Okay.
So, and there's some people that say, oh, I want to be near the water, or I want to have more land, or those types of things. But really the big three are, where are my friends? What are the schools? What are the taxes? And then what can I get, reasonable expectation? What can I get for my money?
Right. Right. Oh, I mean, all valid considerations. Now, switching gears back towards downsizing. Do you see that there are more communities coming up 55 and older? There's a building in White Plains that I pass by a lot. There's one on that New Rochelle, Eastchester border. Do you feel that in the next 5 years, we're going to start to see more of those? And how do those communities work? Are they, when they say they're lifestyle communities, I mean, they're not assisted living, correct? They're independent.
Okay. So I was involved with several of these that were taking a look at building. And most of the land was procured and the building was developed prior to the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, all of the new development things, interest stopped because we had so many problems with nursing homes, assisted living. People didn't want to live close to each other.
Right.
So I think that you're going to see the ones that have come online now, or the new ones that are still being built or coming on. Right. Those are going to be what we have now, and then the next set will come about a decade later.
Now these don't necessarily fall into categories of affordable housing, correct?
Absolutely not. I mean, it can be for a single person, $12,000 a month, for a 1-bedroom, or because they're including, the housekeeping, all the services.
I was going to say, what are the
some
amenities?
Meal plans.
Right. Okay.
So there's generally some recreational types of things.
Transportation.
Sometimes there's transportation back and forth to train stations or into the city or that type of thing to help with the lifestyle, but they are not inexpensive.
Right.
Solutions.
No, you're paying for all the services that you're getting. Do these communities tend to have pools or even general stores? Are they being designed to be community style living?
They're designed to be a cruise ship. Everything that you need right there. And a good and a very, very good community of like-minded, styled types of people. So they can be very enjoyable to live in the
quality of life,
active senior living types of places. Now, those things are not like the normal condos like Watermark Point or other ones that we had mentioned. These are ones that have all the services surrounding them.
Watermark Point, that's not a 55. That's open to
That's
everyone.
Correct. But St. Regis is 55.
Right. And it's absolutely beautiful. And I know people there who are so happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
But do you see, just even if it's not a designated 55 and over, do you see that we're going to start to see a lot more building and condo style structures coming up in Westchester?
Well, what I'd say is everything that's on the books right now, we'll see come to fruition. There's also a nice one that's senior oriented that's on the grounds of SUNY Purchase. And that one is under construction. It's the walls are up. There's most of it's in studs, almost sheetrock type of thing. So it's a large development. They'll be coming on, and they're also nicely geared so that the people that are living there can also take courses, to expand their horizons at SUNY Purchase. So that's a very nice
planning on there. That's interesting. That I wasn't aware of. But even condo living too, you also wonder, it taxes the infrastructure of a community too. When it's not the 55 and older, and then the school systems are where there was one home, now you'll see multiple families there, and those kids are going to go to school and using the infrastructure. So you can see where there's benefits, and then there's issues that can come from it. You can see it from both perspectives.
And also we have to see if all of the 55 plus communities actually hold legally, or whether they allow other families to come in if they say it's discriminatory.
Are there challenges that have been coming?
There have been challenges further north.
Okay.
In Somers, there's a large complex of 2,000 homes, and that was started out as 55 plus and such, and now there's more families that are living there. So I don't know if something starts at 55 plus, if we can really see that forever.
Gotcha.
It's going to be that way.
I want to connect people to Mary. So she was kind enough to give me my hat today. So we'll put my little swag on for Stetson Real Estate. But how can people connect to you?
Okay, so Mary Stetson, Stetson Real Estate. You can just stetsonrealestate.com, 914-381-7173. You can see us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. We're here for you. We're in Mamaroneck, serving Mamaroneck and, actually Westchester County and Greenwich, 4-time Best of Westchester winner.
That's wonderful. And again, no matter where you are, you can benefit from working with Mary and benefit from working with a realtor in general. Again, that commission that a realtor makes really goes for more than just turning a key and letting people in. As Mary outlined, there's so many services that she can assist with if you're looking to downsize or if you're tasked with selling the home for a family member who has passed away. There's a lot that you gave us to consider today.
Thank you very much, Jen.
Well, again, Stetson Real Estate, everyone. You heard it here on Time to Talk. Thank you, Mary. Check her out for more information. And this is Jen Graziano thanking you for taking the time to listen as we took the time to talk. Like the show, sign up today at timetotalkwithjen.com and listen to us on all your favorite podcast platforms. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.